How's it growing, everybody? My name is Brandon Montier, aka Lil B, and I would like to welcome you to Lil B's Garden. How's it growing, beautiful people? Lil B here with Lil B's Garden. On this video, I'm going to show you how I make my hydroponic containers out of stuff you can just find around the house, and you know, stuff that you can purchase for relatively cheap, say like from dollar stores, Dollar Tree, places like that. So let's go ahead and get started with that. And the first container I'm going to show you is something that, you know, most people have. You know, you drink milk, you drink water, you have a gallon jug, and you know, it's a great container to use because a lot of plants will be perfectly fine with a gallon of water over a period of time. You know, I'm not going to tell you grow like large tomatoes and stuff in something like this, but if you grow like even the what you call them, like the Tiny Tims or small cherry tomato varieties would work in this. Tomatoes are heavy drinkers, so you'd have to refill it pretty often, but you could still use this. The only issue you run into is once it gets too big that you know, weight becomes an issue. So with stuff like this, it's probably best just to stick to smaller leafy green plants, lettuce, kale, you know, stuff that tends to get really top heavy. You have to keep it full most of the time and try not to let it run out. But I'm gonna give you an example of what. So I just cut the top off of it, and the basic tools you would need, just a plain old razor knife. And let's see, let me get the other one. If you look closely, you know, there's a little line right here, and you just cut it off on that line, and you may have to trim a little bit depending on the net cup. Most of the ones I use for these gallon jugs are these little, it's a 2-inch net cup, but it's a very thin material. So it's actually like if you were to cut a hole in a container like this, that I'm going to give you on the example and show you why a 2-inch with this small doesn't really work. It'll actually almost fall into the hole because it doesn't really have that big of a lip. But if you use one of these thicker, this one's made by a company called CZ. They're really good, and you can find all this stuff, net cups and stuff, either on Amazon, online somewhere. Hydroponic stores will sell them and stuff like that. So, but this one's a lot thicker. As you can see, it has more of a lip on it, and so if you drop that into one of these containers, it'll sit real nice. It's got a little bit of give, but a 2-inch hole will work perfectly with those. So back to the milk carton again, milk jug again. Like I said, I just cut the top off, and with the CZs you may have to make a bit bigger of a hole, excuse me. And then I just take either a screw or, you know, a nail or something like that, punch a hole. So I punch 4 holes, and then you know, it's some of the basic tools you would need. Like I said, with the razor knife, I use a set of tweezers, and so that way I can just reach in the hole, pull the string out. I tie a little knot, and just to keep it from wiggling around too much. Another thing you could do, and I haven't tried this one yet, I don't know if it would hold very well, because a lot of times what I'll do is so I use pool noodles inside net cups, and this will sit in that container, and then you take a little bit of another little piece of pool noodle, like a little wedge, and you use that for the middle to hold your plants. I'm going to go into that in more detail when I do transplanting and stuff. Right now I just wanted to show you all the you know, the containers themselves, and give you a demonstration of what I use and how to cut them and stuff. But so anyway, back to the milk jug one more time. Show y'all an example of a plant inside one of these milk jugs, and this is what is known as a Buena Mulata pepper plant. Very beautiful pepper plant, and as you can see, it's not very big, but we do, if you want to get a good look at the size of some, let me see if I can find the one that's in the way. So the size of some of these peppers, you know, this one, I don't have big hands, but this one's almost as long as my hand. They have another one over here that's same size. And that's just in a 1 gallon milk jug with the net cup and the string, and then I just put a pool noodle to hold the plant with. And I did put like a little skewer here because I was trying to keep it stable, but for the most part it gives a little bit of wobble, but I didn't even have to have the stick. So, and that's, as you can see, it's putting out full-size peppers, so the plant will stay small. If you want to trim it, you can keep it really short and it'll stay bushy and like widen out, so it doesn't get super top heavy, because the taller the plant is, the more peppers it's going to put out and lean one side or the other. If you trim your peppers, and I'll do a video on that as well later on. But to show you just another quick touch on the milk jug, I just, in the handle, I punch a hole to fill, so you don't have to try to pop the plant out. You don't have to take the pool noodle, you don't have to mess with none of that. Just punch you a hole and make it big enough to drop a funnel in there, or just fill it up very carefully. Sometimes I just add regular water, so I just take it to the sink. And I know a lot of people, well, you gotta have filtered water and stuff. I grow with regular city water and I've never had any issues. So, but okay, so that's the milk jug, and I'm gonna try it with just a pool noodle, because a lot of stuff I grow, I just use the pool noodle as an insert to hold stuff, especially like something like oops, dropping tools, something like this. This is just a container that tea comes in, loose tea. I get that at an Asian market, ethnic stores, whatever. Walmart might carry it, who knows where they have it, but it makes a great container for little stuff like I can't even say it, green onions, and these are regrows. So buy green onions at the store. You save about 2 inches or so from the bottom of the plant, and the roots are still intact. Just cut 2 inches off, then use the green and save the white. And you can do this, you can take this and just stick it in a coffee cup or a little glass of water, and it'll regrow. But if you take and so for this container, this is kind of an issue, and you want to be able to change the water. I wanted to demonstrate that. You see the water is getting cloudy and it can get a smell. So with stuff like this, stuff that regrows, are green onions, and there's some other stuff, chives and all that stuff that'll grow back, you really want to change the water. So it's really easy to just take a little knife or a fork and pop it out, whatever. I have a little, when you try this, don't push it in. So anyway, I'm making it more difficult than it has to be, but you can just pop the whole thing out, and it probably works actually a lot better with the net cup than it does the pool noodle. So I was just trying it out with the pool noodle to demonstrate. So if it falls in the container, good luck trying to get it out. So anyway, this actually is a better setup, and you can see that I wrapped it. It's just electrical tape. I buy, plain old roll electrical tape from Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree carries them for $2 for $1. Usually anywhere else they're a couple bucks per roll. So I have a bunch of it. It's cheap. It doesn't take much to wrap one container. But for the green onions, the net cup works really well. And this container, just make sure to keep it pretty full, so it won't fall over. But so that's one option. And then there's let's see, yogurt containers. I've got this one wrapped, so just any yogurt container, sour cream, any container that comes cylindrical like this can be used. Just black it out, and you don't have to use electrical tape. You can use duct tape. You can use not parchment paper, construction paper. Anything that will block the light will work. So I know people that use stuff like when they do mason jars. So you can take mason jars, and a lot of people use mason jars for hydroponics. I I like to use my mason jars for like fermenting and pickles and stuff. So I don't want to put them towards hydroponics, especially when I have a bunch of other containers that I can use. But so like if you take a 3-inch net cup, excuse me, a 3-inch net cup will not only fit, but especially like the CZs on a wide mouth. This is a half-gallon mason jar. It'll kind of snap into place almost. Now it's not gonna stay, you know, permanently, but if you just put one of the mason jar lids without the insert, the little ring, it'll lock it in place. I threw all of the ones that I had away because they were all rusted, and I bought these. So this would be a little bit of an expenditure, but there's a set on Amazon that you can buy these. It's 16, and I think it's 16 lids, and there's an option you can get this size and this size, so they have the small mouth and the large mouth. And so what, you know, a small mouth jar like this will fit, and that will fit a 2-inch. This is not big enough, but the this one. So the CZ 2-inch net cup doesn't quite, you know, it's wobbly, but if you were to put the lid on it, I thought it would work. Let's see if I can get it to slide on. Okay. Well, that lid doesn't work. I thought it would. I guess it's too big. But anyway, so it does work with this one. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do is just cut the middle out of that one and slap that on there like that. And then, you know, the big hole in the middle. And I really don't use mason jars for that. So back to the subject at hand. People will take the mason jar and they'll cover it with like a couple socks or something, or you can take newspaper, anything that will block the light. Another issue that I have with mason jars, they're glass. I don't, you know, if you drop it, you break it, you know, so just be careful when you're using mason jars. But not just mason jars, olives. This is a brand of olives just from Walmart, and the 3-inch net cup will sit perfectly inside that. You can just wrap it up. For the lid, you know, it's metal, so yeah, I don't know. Let's see, that might actually work. I think this will be too big, and it doesn't really thread. So what you would have to do is to cut the holes for the stuff like that. I bought this box kit of hole saws. There's like 15 different pieces, and I believe the largest is like a 4-inch, and so 3-inch, and then they do a step down like a half, 2.5, 3.5. So you can find them on Amazon, but that's what I use to cut my holes. So you just take a drill your hole, like for whatever container, for these containers, you know, and you don't have to use that specific size. Like even for this one, you could take a 3-inch drill bit. This one obviously won't fit, but you know, and it'll sit right in there. It does take up more space in the container as well, but it'll work. The thing about hydroponics too is that you can grow full-size plants in stuff like this, as long as you're providing nutrients and water for the plant. It'll grow. I've done it with many things. Again, like I said, peppers and lettuce, kale. I've tried it with tomatoes. Tomatoes are such heavy drinkers, so I wouldn't advise it unless it's a small variety, dwarfed variety. So let's go over a few more containers. If you know, you buy supplements in large quantities, fish oil. I get this stuff, you know, like I said, from Target. Just you can, let's see, I actually didn't try this one with the net cup, but it should. Nope. So the smaller one should fit, but yeah, so the smaller one, it's not quite gonna fit, but you know, you can, a lot of times I'll modify stuff. So for something like this, I would probably use the same technique as the milk jug. just drill a couple of holes to line up with, and just line up some of the slits, and then just tie it down, string, zip ties, whatever you can get to hold it in place. You can also do the pool noodle. So regular size pool noodle is not going to fit in there, but if you cut a little wedge out, let me show you with this one. So this one, I just took a little chunk out, and then you have to be careful not to push it in like I did with the green onion, but it'll sit in there and it'll hold a plant. This is not something you want to use for large plants, obviously, but something small. If you want to grow like a baby variety of lettuce, or if you grow lettuce and you let it get a couple of leaves going on it, and then you pick a little bit at a time, so like you pick a couple of the outside leaves, so you take like 3 or 4 of these containers, 3 or 4 heads of lettuce, and then you pick a couple of leaves off of each plant of lettuce, you can get a little harvest off of that all these plants, and you can keep doing that. The lettuce will grow more outside leaves, and you can keep picking that until it bolts or it goes to seed, and then you're either gonna want to start over, or you can let it keep growing, and you can save the seeds from the lettuce once it flowers. Let the flowers dry out, and then save them, and you'll have more seeds to harvest. To plant. So let's see, what else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so like I said, as far as tool wise, this stuff is pretty basic. If you don't have a drill, if you don't have all the tools, hole saws and stuff like that, I know people that take soup cans. So you take something like tomato paste, or like a tomato sauce can, and you heat it up, and you can melt your hole. That's not something I would do personally, and if you do, please wear a protection like a mask or something, because the plastic fumes, they're carcinogenic and stuff, so just be careful with that. Let's see what else. So like I said, for a lot of the stuff that you want to use, you can find at home. If you're like me and you love to eat ice cream, these Talenti make a great container for all kind of stuff. You can grow microgreens in these. You can start seeds in these. You could cut a hole in these and grow plants in these, and again, it's a very small container. You'll have to refill it pretty often, but pop a hole in it, and then as long as you keep an eye on it, it'll grow plants. Just black it out, wrap it up with something, and make sure it doesn't get any light. And that's one of the points I think I forgot to make, was that with this hydroponic nutrient, if you're getting light into it, it'll grow algae. So the algae will pull the nutrients from your plant, and if it gets too much algae, it'll suffocate the plant. So you want to keep it protected from light. So like a glass jar is definitely, you want it blacked out. You don't always have to wrap it. So a lot of people will use this stuff. It's called Hydroponics, and really all it is it's expanded clay, and they bake it or whatever. So it's a hard outer coating, but you put it in a jar with your plants, and you won't have to black it out then, because the balls will keep most of the liquid blacked out. It's basically what's happening. So I know quite a few people that grow with this stuff. I bought it to try it out. In stuff like this, like if I put something like this and then you fill it up, they float is part of the issue. So if you put your plant in here and then your balls start floating up, your plant isn't quite stable. Once it develops roots and really has a nice root system and hangs on to the net cup, it's not really it's not an issue. But in the beginning, if you're trying to put hydroton with a seedling, and I don't know, it's just kind of squirrely. So if you try it out and you like it, then that's a plus. But me personally, I really stick to net cup pool noodle, and it works great. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention too was stuff like rock wool, or riot cubes, things like that. There's, you know, all kinds of material that you can grow plants in. I don't use rock wool personally, but in something like this, you would just start your seed in the rock wool, drop it in the net cup, you're good to go. You know, the roots will grow into the net cup, it'll support it. I haven't used the Oasis cubes or anything like that, so I couldn't give any advice on that. And I haven't used like it's called Root Riot, they're like plugs or whatever. So with something like that, it would definitely need some kind of support. So you could drop it in a net cup and then, you know, put a pool noodle on top of it, or you can buy cloning collars. They're more expensive, and there's a reason why I use these things. Is you can get these things at Dollar Tree, I mean, for $1, and I can get, you know, 50 pucks out of one noodle, or almost 50 of them. And then, so, you know, cloning collars, you can buy like 90, 100 of them, but it's gonna be, for $2 I could get 90 or 100 versus $10 or $12. So I'm just, you know, I try to do everything as cheap as possible, because, you know, I like to grow a lot of stuff, and so with a wide variety of stuff, you save money, you know, you can grow more. So let's see, where else was I? Oh yeah, so I wanted to show off. It's not looking the best because it had aphids. I have another video on the channel that I'm going to post that I got attacked by aphids, and so had to start over. But this, all this is a mixed nut container. This one's cashews, but you buy Walmart, Target, you know, online, wherever, and you get this container, and it's a 30-ounce container. So after you wrap it and black it out, you know, pop a hole in it, and then pool noodle, and excuse me, y'all. And so this is a Sugar Rush Peach, and she's a little rough for wear, but, you know, I'm gonna come back. I had to put it outside, and our weather's been crazy, so it's hot, cold. Right now it's like 80 degrees. So for some reason, Louisiana thinks it's summer right now. So, but if you want to take a look at the size of these peppers, I mean, those are some beauties. So I can't wait to harvest them. But Sugar Rush Peach takes so long they take forever to turn. So, but, you know, anybody that says you can't grow peppers in small containers, it gotta be big. You can grow full-size pepper. You can get a full-size pepper, and these will get a good bit bigger even before they turn peach and start, you know, I get to harvest them. So, you know, and show you all over a little quick, you know, there's your roots. So one of the things I wanted to highlight was the fact that, you know, hydroponically, when you grow your plants, and even in soil, your plants have, you know, two sets of roots, really. They have the upper zones, oxygen roots, air roots, and then the bottom zone is going to be, you know, nutrient water roots, where they pick up their nutrition from. So if you're growing in a container, is one of the downsides of growing in a small container is the fact that, especially larger plants, they will suck up a lot of water fast. So you have to, a lot of times you have to refill them on a daily basis. So something like this, though, with the size of the plant, I can get, you know, a good couple days, a week out of it. But you know, when you start, you'll fill it, you know, almost to the top. As the plant grows and starts putting out more roots, you want to leave, you know, an inch and a half, 2 inches. You want to leave a buffer zone, like a little air pocket, so that the air roots can breathe. And, you know, even with this container closed, it's still getting oxygen inside the container. But if you fill that thing up, like say if you let it run all the way down to the bottom, almost out of water, and then you fill that thing all the way back up to the top, you're going to kill your plant. They're like us, they need oxygen, they need to breathe. So, you know, it'd be basically like sticking your head underwater, and, you know, it wouldn't be good. So, but, you know, I just wanted to share that one with you, and like I said, looking forward to getting some peppers off of it. But I do need to take care of it, because poor baby, it got attacked. So let me see. I had some. Oh yeah. Okay. So that's a lot of the free stuff, or stuff that you would have around the house. Like I said, when you buy groceries, if it's food grade and you're gonna throw it away, butter tubs, sour cream, yogurt, milk jugs. You can even use like the paper cartons that milk comes in, especially like almond milks and stuff like that. You can put a plant in that and it'll hold up for quite a while. So take a basil plant and then take a little chunk of pool noodle, and then you just stick the basil plant, cut a little slit, stick the basil plant in the middle of it. Again, I'm going to show this once I start. I had to start over, so when I get some plants to show y'all with, I'll demonstrate. But you just cut a little chunk of the pool noodle and you stick it into the hole of that carton, and you fill it up with nutrients, and you can grow basil or leafy greens, stuff like that. Cilantro, things like that, stuff that's not super heavy, that won't fall over. You can grow stuff like that. So let's see, we're gonna do so Dollar Tree, I'm gonna keep promoting them. I don't get nothing all, there's not paid promotion or nothing like that. I love the place. So you can find stuff like this over there. I want to say it's a half gallon. I'm not exactly sure on the size. So same procedure, drill a hole, fill it up, wrap it up. It's a nice little spot right here. Like if you after you wrap it, you cut your little section out so that you can tell where your nutrients are at. And you can do it with any of these containers. As long as it's a clear container, you can do it with any of those. Like with glass jars, if you, instead of wrapping them, you can spray paint them. And I think I said that. Just be careful, please. Wear a mask, take care of your lungs. Spray paint's bad for you. So but if you do it with a glass jar, just take a piece of tape, and when you paint, before you paint, put you a little strip of tape and spray paint it, and then when it's dry, just peel that tape off, and you'll have a little section that you can see your level at, of water or nutrients that it's at. So things like this, like I said, this is great for growing pretty much anything: lettuce, kale, your leafy greens. You can put pepper plants in them, just keep them small. So and to wrap them, I had found these. They're just a little 1 gallon like bathroom trash bags. So I just take the trash bag and wrap it around, take a little bit of tape, wrap it around the right by the threads, seal it up. And when you black stuff out, it doesn't have to be like completely dark. You may get like a little bit algae, but usually even then, because you would think like with a white lid, this white lid, for a lot of stuff, I blacked them out, like I taped over. So like this lid, but I don't think even that was necessary. But as a precaution, I went ahead and did it. So let's see. So that's another option. You can do a little trash bag, or you can use like cut up a full-size trash bag and do multiple projects. So this one I did with just electrical tape, and as you can see, as I was telling you about the fill line, I just left a little bit of I cut that excuse me, be brief, just cut that out, left a little fill line. So let's see, and now for the larger containers, especially for like growing my pepper plants and stuff like that, I go with like storage containers. This is the Sterilite 10 gallon, and at one point they were impossible to find. I found them online at the Container store, but this has to be one of my favorite containers. They're very sturdy, they're very easy to cut. What I do is I just cut 4 holes in the lid for my pepper plants, and what I may do is end up cutting a few more so they're multi-functional, because you know, you can use the square foot gardening rules for hydroponics. Anybody that doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'll put some links down at the bottom so that you can find, check that out. But basically, the rule of square foot gardening is, how many plants can you grow in a square foot? Pepper plant's going to be 1. For smaller stuff like radishes and stuff, and there's certain plants you can grow up to like 16 in a square foot. So, a square foot on this container, let's see if I can get it to display. So it'd be an area about that big, but most pepper plants get huge. So, when you're cutting holes, you want to kind of think about what you're going to be growing. When I first started, this is another container I really like, but it's kind of a pain to cut because of the ridges and all the rough stuff in it. But this is just it's called a Hdx container. And you get those. You see, if you ever watch anything on hydroponics, you see these a lot. This one's a 7-gallon, and so Home Depot. And you can get them online and stuff like that. But with this one, what I did was I cut 12 holes, which it's a lot, but for seedlings and stuff, this works great. And once the plants get to a certain size, I can transplant them out into other systems. And you can always space it out. The upside of using like pool noodles and stuff is if I want to skip spaces, I'll just put pool noodles in the middle to cover that hole, and then I can alternate. I can put 2 plants here, 1 in the middle, 2 plants there, 1 in the middle. So it's very versatile. And there's tons of containers out there that you can find to use the same way, and different setups. So I just really wanted to give y'all an idea of where you can get started at. And don't get overwhelmed. This stuff is really, really easy. I know a lot of people say it's hydroponics is so hard. It's not. It really isn't. And it's not. It can be expensive, but only if you're trying to go all out and you want to, all the bells and whistles, and you want to try to do stuff like aeroponics and you're adding fish, or aquaponics. Aeroponics, you have like sprayers and you need pumps and you need electricity, and a lot of those systems, if your power goes out, you're screwed, unless you have a backup plan. So the great thing about Cracky, it was developed by Dr. Cracky, is that like with this container, I take this is a little small, but so let's give it a gallon jug. Take a head of lettuce, a lettuce seedling, you drop it in this container, fill it with nutrients, and stick it under some light. You let it go for 55 days, and then you harvest it. And it's called set it and forget it, and you don't have to worry about it. Once that plant, it'll take up, and sometimes it won't even drink a whole gallon, but on average, it's about a gallon for like a head of lettuce. So say you want to use it for tomatoes, like a large tomato plant, you would need a lot of water. Like a 55-gallon drum would get you like 1 tomato plant, and probably have some excess, but they're heavy drinkers. So you can set that system for pretty much any plant. Cucumbers, herbs will work fine in that, and it's not expensive, it's not hard, and most of the time you have the stuff that you need right around the house. So start looking around. I started seeing things way differently whenever now when I go shopping, I'm like, okay, I'll buy stuff just because the container looks cool, or I know I'll get use out of it. So I'll eat the stuff, whatever's in it, but still. So I just wanted to share that with y'all, and I'm going to be sharing a bunch more down the line. And so this is just the start. Anybody have any comments, questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'm always looking for advice. If there's something that I love constructive criticism, so don't think you can hurt my feelings or anything. I'm looking to help people grow, and I'm looking to grow myself. So speaking of growing, I'm gonna go ahead and end this thing because it's already 35 minutes in. But thank you for watching. Happy growing, and get out there and try this stuff, you know. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop it in the comments, and I'll get back to you. Peace.